Well, hello, my fabulous friends. I hope you're doing well. Well, I find this fascinating, the Cottingley Fairies. I'm sure you've all seen this photo at some time during your life. And these are called the Cottingley Fairies. And the Cottingley Fairies appeared in a series of 5 photographs taken by Elise Wright, who lived from 1901 to 1988, and Frances Griffiths, who lived from 1907 to 1986. 2 young cousins who lived in Cottingley, England. So that's why they're called the Cottingley Fairies. In 1917, when the first 2 photographs were taken, Elsie was 16 years old and Frances was 9. The pictures came to the attention of writer Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, who wrote Sherlock Holmes. And he used them to illustrate an article on fairies he'd been commissioned to write for the Christmas 1920 edition of the Strand magazine. Doyle was enthusiastic about the photographs and interpreted them as clear and visible evidence of supernatural phenomena. Public reaction was mixed. Some accepted the images as genuine, others believed that they had been faked. Interest in the Cottingley Fairies gradually declined after 1921, and there was a total of 5 photographs. In 1966, a reporter from the Daily Express newspaper traced Elsie, they traced Elsie in 1966. Elsie left open the possibility that she believed that she had photographed her thoughts, and the media once again became interested in the story. In the early 1980s, Elsie and Frances admitted that the photographs were faked, using cardboard cutouts as fairies copied from a popular children's book of the time. But Frances maintained that the 5th and final photograph was genuine. As of 2019, the photographs and the cameras used are in the collections of the Natural Science and Media Museum in Bradford, England. And so this was the original photo in black and white. And this was colorized. And I just thought, oh, this looks so pretty colorized. And you can clearly see they are cutouts I mean, you can almost clearly see here as well. But once they're colorized, you can see they're more like cutouts and cartoonish. And I found the 5th picture that she maintains is real or genuine. And you kind of look at it, and the wings are clear, and like her dress is obviously quite a bit different than the cutout dresses. Can you see that? There's some, like, you can see through. And then this, I don't know what this is. Is this like a cape or a home or some such thing? And it's in Lily of the Valleys. And look, there's something here as well. Can you see? And I'm not too sure these young girls at age 16 and 9 would be that versed in Photoshop. I mean, they put cardboard cutouts. Look at the difference. You can tell this is clearly a drawing. That's why the color one is much more clear, that it's a drawing or a cardboard or a cardboard cutout, but it's much more clear that it's a drawing. Whereas this picture, the 5th one, you can see through to the grass behind. And I'm not sure they had skills like that, especially young girls. Would they have access to Photoshop skills like that? And that's like high-tech Photoshop that you adjust the opaqueness and whatnot. But there's clearly one here. See, there's a arm, and there's something here. And this, I don't know what this is. I don't know if this is a cape or some such thing. Now, this one could be suspect, but you look at how transparent the wings are. Look how transparent the wings are there. So I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to ask the fairy cards. What are the truth? Number one, why did the girls do this? Were they just having fun with the camera? Now, let's be honest. In 1917, for two young girls to even have access to a camera. These weren't poor children from the hood, right? They've obviously, if their parents owned a camera, I mean, I've got pictures of my granny from, I think she was 10 years old, so the 20s perhaps. And her family was well off, upper middle class, let's say, and they even couldn't afford a camera. Everybody thought they were rich in town because they had a car. Oh yes, if you had a car, that was the way back then, right? Now, if you don't have a car, there's something wrong with you, or you lost it in a bet or something. So I want to ask, like, why? Obviously, they were just trying to play around, and I don't think they went out to fake anybody out. I think once Sir Arthur found them and they became sensationalized, you have to remember they're young girls and now they're caught in a lie. So is it easier to keep the lie going than admit? Or what happened there? Why did they make these pictures in the first place? Was it just for fun? And then we're going to ask, is that last one genuine? Or was it by that time, because there was 5 photographs, by that time were they well versed in photo tricks, let's say? And I would like to point out they never took any other photos after that. So why did they do that in the first place? Were they just playing? Were they just, checking out? Did they enjoy fairies? What was their initial reason for making these photos? Maybe they made them for money. Maybe they thought they could sell them. Let's see. And then we'll ask if that last one is genuine. The Empress. Time to take action. The Empress. Just creativity. Pregnant with possibilities. Just creativity. So, and I think there we go. I think that's the only card we need to draw. I think these girls were just being very creative with camera. And like I said, I think, ego. The devil. The illusion of being trapped. Placing too much importance on material items. Getting caught up in fear and worry. I think that's what happened. Yeah, I think once they got trapped, I think getting caught up in that fear, I think that's what happened. I think these were just a couple of girls who obviously, perhaps a parent was involved in photography, and because the pictures are actually stunning, really. I mean, it's like seriously, like well placed. Look at the background. They've got the depth and everything, and well centered, and how the fairies are around her face, so you more or less see her face. This is top-notch selfies almost. And so you think these young girls are taking these pictures. Where did they learn that from? Like, I tried to look more information, like was a parent, one of their parents or grandparents, really, because they're cousins, into photography, and perhaps they, watched and wanted to play with themselves, will play with the camera themselves. Ace of Winter. Don't be deterred by challenges along the way. Well, Ace of Winter is an Ace of Swords. Amazing new ideas should be implemented. Life experience. We've got all these major arcanas. Let go of belief systems that no longer work for you. An important life-changing event, a situation that leads to significant opportunities. Well, this is the Tower. So I think their world was turned around, and you know what? Maybe they were looking for attention on their photography skills. But I think what happened is they got stuck in this fear of, oh my God, we got caught. But all these adults, all these big adults, they think it's real. Now what? Now what? 10 of spring, so 10 of wands. Ask help from others, all work and no play, being weighed down by too many responsibilities. Both of the girls, like I said, like the article said, after 1921 and it died down, they both kind of went their own way. Got married and they both left the UK because I think this 10 of wands was so heavy on them, this tower moment. Well, I've always said the tower moment doesn't always have to be destruction. Their tower moment was Sir Arthur finding those photos and saying, "Can I publish them?" Out of the blue, right? That was their tower moment, and then the photos became a burden, and they became a burden. I think here with the Devil card and the Ace of Winter, I think they possibly would have, they possibly thought they maybe perhaps could have tricked some people. Right? You know, the creativity of truth, but the devil's in between here and the tower. And then it became a big burden. The truth became a big burden. They tried to create the truth, and then the truth became a big burden. I forgot. Yeah, those are all fitting in. Ace of Spring, so Ace of Wands. It's time to take action, be fearless and happy, pursue your most treasured dreams. Amazing career opportunities. Yeah, I think we got Ace of Wands and Ace of Swords here. I think once they were acknowledged, and especially if Sir Arthur thought they were real, I wonder if then they started to think, wow, we have a real career opportunity here. But it wouldn't be a career, it would be like to make money, right? Women didn't have careers per se back then. The dreamer, yeah, they were actually kind of being foolish and innocently foolish about it. Innocently foolish. Begin a new adventure. Queen of Autumn, generous, stylish, gracious, practical. Be practical with, so this is the Queen of Pentacles on the Tower life experience. I think they did manage to make some money from it. They manifested some things. And it's interesting that the one cousin said, no, it was just a picture of her thoughts, which is manifestation. So they were trying to show people law of attraction. So they were trying to show people, no, the camera just picked up on our thoughts. And that would be the manifestation queen there. Strength. Look at all the major arcanas here. Wow. This could have been like, this really was a life lesson for them about truth and how far you could go with the truth and how creative you can be with the truth and what you can manifest. I imagine they received some form of money for the photos. Maybe they sold photos places. They did make money on it. Absolutely. The grace and inner strength needed to overcome challenges, the power of kindness and forgiveness, time to embrace how wonderful you are. I think this strength card, because the strength card is always, you see the virgin closing the lion's mouth. And so I think the strength was to keep this a secret. I'm surprised the High Priestess hasn't shown up. Nine of Springs, protect the fruits of your labors, prepare for possible challenges that lie ahead. Environmental conservation. Well, Nine of Spring is the Nine of Wands. So they were embattled by it, and they had to leave the UK for their own mental health. They married, or they went overseas and married somebody else and created families. And just Elsie eventually came back to the UK. It became way too much for them. The 9 and 10 of Wands here, the pressures. And I think it's fabulous that at the end they admitted the truth. 8 of Spring, 8 of Wands, stress that comes from having many things happening at once, successful multitasking, sudden events or changes. Yeah, they had to take off. Look at that. So we have major arcanas and we have lots of wands, which is passion. And I think they became almost burdened by this, and they had to take off. They were embattled. Went into hiding rather than admit the truth, what was going on. They were very overwhelmed. Like, look at 8, 9, 10 of wands. Like, you can just feel those wands coming down on them, right? Those 8, 9, like, just embattled, and we got to get out of here. That's all. What's that song? We got to get out of here. So I think it took a lot of them in the strength to really not waver from what they said is true. They did make some money off it. They did manifest some money. So if they wanted to manifest money from this, they got it. But what came with that money was this immense pressure from the public. 9 of summer, wishes come true, dreams fulfilled, a magical time of life. So it might have, like, maybe that was their wish to sell them, to become a famous photographer. Perhaps that was a wish to become a famous photographer. King of summer, a romantic partner you can trust, excellent advice that comes from the heart, getting involved in cultural or creative endeavor. I think this King of Cups here was Sir Arthur. So they had this wish to do these photographs. You have to remember, they had to develop them and everything. They had no idea how they worked or what they looked like. And this King of Summer, I think, is the King of Cups who came along and made them famous. But then they look at the anxiety, 9 of Swords. But it says unfounded fear, focusing on worst case scenarios, allowing worry to grow out of proportion to the problem. 3 of spring, so more passion. Plan your next steps with an eye to the long term. Have patience, there's more good things to come. Satisfaction from a job well done. 7 of autumn, more patience. Have patience and don't worry. Take time to rest and plan your next steps, a prudent investment of time or money. And you think about it, these photos now, 100 years later, we're still talking about them. So what they planted then is the 7 of autumn. And I'm not sure if there's, an estate that makes money off these photos. I think they would be out of copyright, but my understanding is once a museum owns or takes charge of an item, now the museum has the copyright. That's my understanding, because there's some oracle and tarot cards that you cannot reproduce without express written permission of the museum. Most of the time they'll give you permission, limited permission. But I'm wondering now, because these are now owned by the museum in Bradford, if they're still making money off of it, because every museum has a gift store. So maybe you can buy a postcard or a tea towel or something with these photographs on. 5 of summer, trust that there's a reason for everything that happens. Remove yourself from the negative emotions of others, focusing on which frightens or worries you. And I think that's where that's where they decided to take off. And also, this is the 5 of Cups, so that's not being able to let go of the past, and not being able, and all they could see was this pressure that they got for people saying, are they real, are they real, are they? And at that point they still kept their mouths zipped. And I think until they admitted in the 80s, and interesting, they both admitted just shortly before they passed away, not that shortly, 5 years ish, 3 to 5 years before, which is still, I think they had a hard time. I don't think they had a great, exciting life. I think they were always looking over their shoulders. It's tough living with a lie. It really is. It really plays on your subconscious. And I think they had a hard time letting go of the past, even though they moved physically away from what happened. With this 5 of summer, they really had a difficult time letting go of the past. And you have to remember, they both had to be in agreement to release the truth at the same time, because you didn't want the other one to look bad, right? So I think they did it as, I think one of them probably wanted to be a photographer and was excited when it got published, and then realized the public interest on it was way over their heads for young girls, 16 and 9, even if they were 17 and 10. That is way too much public pressure for that age. And they got some money from it. They got the life experience of a tower moment, but I think it really played on them. And interestingly enough, their efforts are still bearing fruit to today. People are still making money off of their efforts 100 years later. So that's 7 of Pentacles. If you get it, it's an investment that will pay dividends, maybe not immediately, but it's a hockey stick. It's like this, and then it goes up, and it goes up, and it goes up, and it goes up, and it bears fruit forevermore. And I still think it's, well, it still is. You can still, to this day, buy things with the fairies on it. All right, so now let's ask if this last one, number 5, with the transparent fairies, can you see the arm there? There's the wings. Look how transparent that one is. This one's transparent. This one looks a little bit more contrived, if you ask me. And I don't know what this is. A cocoon, perhaps a silk blanket that they wrap themselves in, but they are around lily of the valleys. And as far as I know, lily of the valleys, they love lily of the valley flowers. I planted some in my garden. I hope I get the fairies. All right, so let's ask, is the 5th picture, is it real? Is it real? Is the 5th picture, because it's the Francis, the one lady insists that the final and the 5th picture is real. Is the 5th picture real? What was that showed? Queen of Autumn again, manifestation, Prince of Spring. Right place, right time. Well, she did say that all the camera did was take pictures of their thoughts. But she insists that last one is real. And it does look quite a bit different than the other ones, that's for sure. And I'm not too sure that those girls, that the Photoshop skills, I know they had some type of Photoshop back then. They absolutely did. They were learning how, but it wasn't called Photoshop, obviously, but they were learning how to blend photos together, and there's all kinds of really kind of cool pictures that they experimented with, and back then, man on the moon kind of things, and goddesses, and actually there's a lot of things there with tarot card readers as well. Spirits around a person in a seance, and whatnot. They were becoming quite creative. All right, so is the 5th and final photo real? Is it real? Is it real? Is the 5th and final photo real? Real meaning that I gotta clear that, because it's really a photo, right? You have to be so careful how you word these. Is the 5th and final photo? Is the 5th and final photo of the Cottingley fairies, did it capture real fairies? There we go. Did it capture real fairies? The Cottingley fairies photos, the 5th and final photo, did it capture real fairies? Did it capture real fairies? Did it capture real fairies? Cards are ready. Okay. People ask me, how do I know when the cards are ready? See how sticky they are? They don't want to be shuffled anymore. That's how you know. Oh, and the clock agrees with me. All right. Renewal, judgment, Review the past and present so you can plan a bright new future. Understanding your life purpose. Releasing judgments of yourself and others. Look at that little fairy in there. Second chances. Two of winter. Indecision is holding you back. So two of winter is also two of swords, and that's a big no. Feeling trapped between the intellectual and the emotional. Prince of autumn. Cautious but wise action. Meticulous attention to detail. Kindness to others. So that's the Page of Pentacles. Ten of winter. This is Ten of Swords. The resolution of difficulties, a weight lifted off your shoulders, the end of an addiction or codependency. So the weight of the truth lifted off the shoulders. But you know what, when this Ten of Winter here, the ruin. So I'm almost getting with this second chances that she knew coming out with the truth would ruin their reputation. I mean, admitting a lie that's, 70 years old has to take a lot of courage. But she couldn't let go of the whole lie. That's what I'm getting with that. Strength, there's the strength. The grace and inner strength needed to overcome challenges. The power of kindness and forgiveness. Time to embrace how wonderful you are. I think she said that to save face. I really do. And interestingly, this strength card in this deck is the original 11th major arcana. Rider-Waite was the one who changed it to 8 and Justice to 11. So it would work better with the zodiac. Now, strength is a 2 and renewal is a 2. And we have a Prince of Autumn here. We have 2 of Winter and 10 of Winter. I think that the Prince of Autumn, remember his Page of Autumn, they're trying to sell you something. I think she said that to save face. She did not want to admit that the full lie. She couldn't. She was so addicted to the lie. And a lot of people who lie a lot, they believe their own lies, and after a while they don't realize what's real and what's not. 8 of Summer, 8 of Cups, so moving on. The desire for a more meaningful life, realizing it's time to move on, choosing to make major lives. So I think between the two of them, I think they decided it's time we told the truth. Ace of Autumn, a windfall of money, advice, or assistance from other, a very successful project, a happy change in your career. I think what this actually means here, this is Ace of Pentacles on top of the Prince of Autumn. By them providing the truth, by them selling us the truth, they actually started a whole new, I want to say karma almost. They planted a seed of truthfulness. King of Spring, so King of Wands, a financial windfall. Your leadership skills are needed now. An unexpected supporter of your cause on top of the 10 of Winter. I wonder if somebody offered if they sold their story to somebody. I didn't see that. In the early 1980s, they both admit that the photographs are fake. But Francis maintained the 5th and final photograph was genuine. I wonder if there was a financial reason that they did that with this King of Spring here, this King of Wands. The King of Wands is an entrepreneur. And they have this Ace of Autumn. Maybe they both needed a boost of money. So by selling their story, by moving on from the story that they had, by selling their story, they maybe perhaps received a little windfall for exposing the truth. But I'm really getting, though, that Frances really couldn't fully commit to the truth. She had to save face somehow. 7 of Autumn. There we go. This was have patience, don't worry, take time to rest and plan your next steps. A prudent investment of time or money. 4 of Spring. Be grateful. You have much to celebrate. Deep feelings of peace and happiness. contented personal life. Yeah, I think by them exposing the truth, I think they sold the information to somebody, to tell you the truth. Honestly, this is what this King of Spring here is. I think somebody maybe probably approached them and said, "Can I, why don't you confess and I'll give you a couple hundred for your story or something." I'm not getting that it's a lot of money because we have this Ace of Autumn here. So that's just one, like that's just an offering. But this Ace of Autumn actually, potentially, maybe it did grow into something that they could leave their children or some such thing. So maybe they took that money, invested it. Maybe they redid the copyright. I'm not sure what they did, but they did something that eventually has been paid off. Because here's the Four of Spring. I like this peace and contentment, that knowing that, so in the early 80s, they would have been in their early 80s as well. So perhaps they sold their story so they could go in peace. Queen of Spring. People, believe in yourself. Wonderful people want to help you. Maintain balance between work and home life. Interesting. King of Spring, Queen of Spring, Four of Spring. I think here also the Queen of Wands. She's also, very truthful, very loyal. And I think that I'm getting that they felt really good about exposing the truth, about telling the truth. And also, it could be, maybe they wanted the truth for their children and their grandchildren, because there was something here. With the second time we got the Seven of Pentacles, something that they planted then has grown into, a really good harvest. Like, oh, there's the Tower moment. Let go of belief systems that no longer work for you. An important life changing event, a situation that leads to significant opportunities. All right, so perhaps she said this last one was real, hoping that maybe she would go down in history as the first person to photograph fairies, or um, I guess the reasons are her own. If both of them said the last one was real, there might be something here, but I don't think I'm not getting. Um, Ace of Autumn, aces are yeses, but I would prefer an Ace of Swords or an Ace of Wands. I think that I think they were just happy to let go of the secret. And Three of Spring, yeah, plan your next steps with an eye to the long term, and I think that's what they did. Perhaps they wanted to make sure their children and grandchildren knew the truth. There's something here though that they made some money off of telling the truth. They didn't tell the truth for free, but it was definitely the truth shall set you free kind of situation. But the Frances, she couldn't completely indulge herself in the truth. She had to leave that hook of possibility, possibly maybe that magical possibility, the dreamer. Yeah, there she is. Ace of Winter and the Four of Autumn. So I think, and ego, the devil. Yeah, I think, because as I was talking, then comes the Ace of Swords saying, um, the truth shall set you free. But they didn't, with this Four of Pentacles, they didn't tell the whole truth. They kept some secrets to themselves. Here's the ego, the devil. And the next card wants to show itself. Five of Winter. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. I think, that uh, that's what it was. Her ego couldn't really let go of the 100% of the truth. She had to leave some kind of little magic here. And if you look at this walking away, look at all the sparks, like just wants to leave some kind of magic, some kind of hope, perhaps. Maybe that's what she was kind of trying to plant. Um, yeah, if they both would have said, we have no idea how that picture came along, but with one saying they were all faked, I think if it was original and genuine, I think that, the other one would have said, "Yeah, when we developed it, we had no idea what we caught." So somehow, perhaps they you know, we have to remember back then you had to leave the focus open for quite a while. So perhaps they just quickly dipped the pictures in somehow, so it would look transparent, because they look transparent. They really do. This one not so much, but this one here. And what's this thing here, right? This almost looks like a wing in here. So I don't know how they did that. The shutter, that's what I'm thinking of. And you can tell the shutter was left open. Look at there could have look at the movement in the pictures. All right, so there is the story of the Cottingley fairies. And thank you very much for Fairies for answering these questions for us. And I want to thank you very much for spending this time with me, and I hope you enjoyed this. And we'll see you in the next one.